What's going on, guys? Welcome back, man. Time for some Sabaton history. I know you guys been waiting a while for this one. So, yeah, I think it's been about a week since we looked at the last video. But yeah, don't mind my bald head if you're getting blinded. But anyways, yeah, we're gonna be looking at Night Witches Part 2. And this is basically the second part of the first part. Well, duh, it's part 2. But last one we learned about how the fact that in Russia the Soviet Union was able to take in women and actually have them as pilots, and then we learned about the plane that would fly silent in the night. It would glide. I forget the name of it. A crop duster, I think they called it. But yeah,
I'm Spartacus.
it was
Sabaton
like
history.
it's basically called them night witches because they're gliding down, and then they would drop bombs on people. They would drop bombs on the enemy, and then they would hurry up, turn the engine on, and then get away real quick.
I'm a lot better now. I was sick for 3 weeks.
Pretty interesting story.
Have to be hospitalized.
So yeah, let's watch the second part right now.
But it was pretty nasty anyhow. But I still can't have anyone into my place, and I can't leave my place, which means I can't properly do any lighting or filming. So Per and Spartacus are going to do this episode together. Take it away, guys.
COVID.
In the first episode about Night Witches, we talked about the female bombers.
But there are a lot of other women that fought valiantly in different wars, and we're looking at a few of those in this episode of Sabaton History.
Nice.
In Night Witches Part 1, Indy told you the story of the Soviet 588th All-Female Night Bomber Regiment, who were known as the Night Witches by the German soldiers of World War II on whom they inflicted such misery. But they weren't the only ones who deserve remembrance for their deeds during the war. Today, let's look at some other badass women of that conflict who put themselves in danger either on or behind the front lines in the service of their country. When Lyudmila Pavlichenko was a teenager in Kiev, she joined one of the many paramilitary clubs of the Soviet Union. These were not only to keep reservists in shape, but were also open to the public. Pavlichenko was a born athlete and a natural with a rifle. She trained hard to outshine the boys, and she earned her marksman certificate and sharpshooter badge with ease. During the late 1930s, she enrolled into Kiev University to study history, like all badasses do, and also aced at sniping school of the Soviet Red Army. In the week of the German invasion in June 1941, Pavlichenko was among the first female volunteers to stand in front of the recruiting office in Odessa. At first, they urged her to become a nurse, but Pavlichenko insisted that she wanted to fight with the infantry. A quick examination of her badges and certificates was enough to convince the recruiters, and she was sent off to serve in the 25th Shapayev Rifle Division. She was to become one of 2,000 female snipers in the Red Army during the war. Only 500 of them would survive. Her story goes that while her division was awaiting the advances of Axis forces on Odessa that summer, they sent out snipers to harass the enemy. At first, Pavlichenko was paralyzed by fear as the Axis advanced on her position, but suddenly the young man next to her was killed by an enemy bullet. That snapped her right out of the fear. She took his scope Mosin Nagant bolt action rifle, scored her first 2 kills of the war, the first of many. In just 2 months of fighting for Odessa, she is said to have killed 187 Axis soldiers. After Odessa fell in October, her unit was taken back to Sevastopol on the Crimea, awaiting yet another siege. By May 1942, she had really made a name for herself and was promoted to lieutenant after marking her 257th kill. She was sent out on even more dangerous missions like counter-sniping, which was a duel to the death with enemy snipers. Pavlichenko killed 36 of them. After being hit in the face by mortar shrapnel in June, Soviet High Command took her out of the line, though. She was a well-known hero and was now too valuable to lose in combat. She was Lady Death, the female sniper with an official total kill of 309.
Wow, that is a lot, man. 309 people. Wow, that's quite an achievement right there, man. For sure. Um so basically I really really like listening to Sabaton and learning about this stuff because this has always been a subject that's really interested me, and it's really fun to watch it with you guys, you know, and to see the comments that I get down below about the video. You know, if you do watch the video, I know that this is a pretty popular series.
Once she left the hospital, Pavlichenko became a propaganda tool.
Bismarck.
She was sent overseas to Canada and the U.S. on a publicity tour.
Check it out.
She was the first common Soviet citizen received at the White House. Pavlichenko spoke freely to the crowds about her experiences at the front, how the man she loved was killed soon after their marriage, and of the terror the Germans had inflicted on her home. But while the public found this really interesting, the press seemed typically more interested in the length of her skirts, and the look of her masculine uniform, and questions like if the girl sniper wore makeup at the front. Pavlichenko remarked that the Americans should worry less about the looks of her uniform and more about what it represented. There were plenty of Americans who understood that, of course.
Oh, that was her husband.
Virginia
wow.
Hall had lost her leg during a hunting accident in her youth. That had not deterred her from pursuing a career.
That would suck to have your husband die in front of you, your wife
fluently,
die right in
and
front of
keen
you.
interest in European
I'd be
politics.
pissed, dude.
When she applied to become a diplomat overseas, the U.S. Department of State was reluctant to
This is the
hire
best
a
water ever, by the way.
Hall, however, was
Just had it,
determined.
started
In
having it
1940,
today.
while most of the American public refrained from having anything to do with the war in Europe, Hall was serving as a volunteer ambulance driver in France. Retreating from the German invasion, she heaved wounded French soldiers into her truck, driving them to safety under constant threat of attack after attack from the air. After France fell, she escaped to Spain, where she made the acquaintance of a British intelligence officer. The officer was intrigued by Hall's dedication to fighting the Nazis and put her in contact with the newly formed Special Operations Executive in London. The SOE was trying to infiltrate occupied Europe, but so far, the 50-50 chance for agents to survive the first weeks after insertion did not bring in many enthusiastic volunteers.
Wow.
Although the agency was reluctant to deploy a handicapped woman, they decided to put Hall into Section F, France. By April 1941, she had been inserted into Vichy, France, and occupied a safe house in the city of Lyon. Her cover was that of a reporter from the New York Post, who was there to gather stories about life under the new regime. The first thing she had to learn was to move around without being suspicious. She had different outfits and hairstyles prepared and made use of heavy makeup and disguises when she needed to turn into a different person for a while. It was doubt that kept her alive, and a strong sense for danger was her best ally. Hal knew when to lay low when the French police was raiding houses or watching meeting points of suspected SOE agents. Nonetheless, she soon built up her own network of informers and worked closely with the French resistance. Over the winter of 1941-42, she used a brothel to hide exposed agents or British pilots that had been shot down over France before smuggling them out to Spain. Her most famous feat was an actual prison break where Hall's network freed several agents from a French prison. By mid-1942, her activities attracted more and more attention from the German secret police. And after the prison break stunt, they began cracking down hard on the resistant movements for which Lyon had become a hotspot. Hall even attracted the attention of the Gestapo leader Klaus Barbie, known as the Butcher of Lyon, who supposedly said that he couldn't wait to get his hands on that limping bitch. After the Allied invasion of North Africa, in November 1942, France became too dangerous for Hall, and she fled the country. She then joined the OSS American Intelligence. Although the OSS was at first, like everyone, reluctant to employ a handicapped woman, by 1944, Hall was back operating in France. Disguised as an old woman, she supported several resistance groups and prepared safe houses for agents in the south of France until the Germans retreated. Virginia Hall had survived far longer than many other agents, and she laid the groundwork for many espionage techniques that are still in use today. But she had to fight hard to do it, not only against the enemy, but against all the doubt from within the ranks of her own.
Oh wow, undercover.
Before the war, Simone Segouin had lived a normal teenage life southwest of Paris. Her father had been politically active in her hometown and was very vocal against the German occupation, and she greatly admired his patriotism. Now, he had fought in the Great War as a volunteer. In this war, she wanted to do her part. The German conscripted her to work as a seamstress in Paris, a big mistake in hindsight, because in her workplace, she made contact with members of the underground resistance. They fixed her a fake passport under the name of Nicole Minet from Dunkirk. Her first mission was to prove herself to the resistance and steal a bicycle from a German officer. She then used that bike to transport secret messages between resistance members in the town of Chartres. As a young woman, she was less conspicuous and had an easier time moving around among the German soldiers than a man would. Always on the lookout for high-profile targets, Segouin was soon involved in several sabotage and demolition missions in the area. The young, courageous, and reliable woman made such an impression on the resistance fighters that they trained her in the use of firearms. As the war neared its end, Segouin's unit took to street fighting the retreating German soldiers during the liberation of Chartres. Segouin, submachine gun in hand, assisted in arresting 25 German soldiers. Then, the famous war photographer Robert Capa came upon her unit, and he took the famous picture of Simone Segouin with her German submachine gun. Segouin soon became a symbol for the young generation that fought against the German occupation, for resistance valued courage and activism, no matter the gender. The idea that women can be warriors equal to men is maybe best visually depicted in the photo of Kozarčanka. In the winter of 1943-44, the renowned war photographer George Skrigin traveled through the region of Kozara in the western Bosnia. There, he encountered a group of guerrilla fighters. See, by this time, large parts of Yugoslavia had come under the effective control of partisans who were fairly successfully fighting the Axis occupation. Skrigin approached the partisan leader and asked if he could take pictures of the group. Among the female medics was the 17-year-old Lyudmila Pavlichenko, a Bosnian Serb who grew up in a small village near Mount Kozara. Wearing a cardigan, Milja swung a rifle over her shoulder, adjusted her titovka cap, and smiled as she turned her head. At that moment, Skrigin took the photo. In 1968, long after the victory of the partisans, Skrigin published this photograph in a book of his war photography. There, Milja became Kozarčanka, the girl from Kozara. Skrigin simply described her as a young girl who had fled German captivity and joined the partisans to fight the fascists. The photograph was a huge hit, and Kozarčanka became a Yugoslavian icon. She embodied the partisan struggle and was a perfect fit for the propaganda of the communist Yugoslav state. It was a symbol that despite the danger of war, the partisans remained enthusiastic about their coming victory. Kozarčanka smiled, expressed confidence and optimism. Her girlish innocence contrasted by the rifle across her shoulder. The true identity behind Kozarčanka was not ever revealed until the collapse of Yugoslavia. Yet, though it was a staged photograph, Milja still remains a symbol, not only of the struggle of the Yugoslav partisans,
Yugoslavia is the old I'm not gonna say province, but it was a bunch of countries put together. I believe it was Serbia, it was Czechoslovakia, it was Georgia, I believe, was in there, and then
and the many women that fought in it. But the many women who fought for their beliefs, their nations, and their freedom during that great conflict,
like basically
or even better than any man ever could.
One country with other countries that split off after the World War II. I'm pretty sure after the Cold War that Yugoslavia was no more.
Despite that you're a metal band and you sing about something very, very male, war, you have a lot of female fans, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of people who think that Sabaton only have male fans because it would suit the topic. Obviously, these days it's very easy to get some statistics of who is coming to the shows, who is listening to our music and stuff like that. And because of a project that I was working on, I was collecting a lot of statistics, especially from the last tour and from a lot of other things. And it varies about 30 to 45% is the females that are showing up at our concerts. The Sabaton crew sticks out with a little bit more of women present. So I don't know if it's that we are so attractive that the girls come, or that they just like that we sing heavy metal songs.
His camera's moving.
I'm very happy to have the
moving with his head. That's really cool.
And you have an all-female fan club as well, right?
Yes, we do, and it ties to this episode because obviously they are the Sabaton witches, so it's the all-female regiment of Sabaton fans.
Hey, and we also have the newest member of our team, Maria. She runs a doom metal club in Stockholm when she's not working for us, and that's yet another female metalhead.
Oh, yeah. I mean, absolutely. And in the next, we're going to introduce Maria properly in the next episode, because you guys who are part of the different tiers on the Sabaton History Patreon
wow, that's really cool.
Group, you will have a lot to do with Maria in the future, because she's taking over all of that. She already did. She's already taken over that. Indian Pair, talking about patrons and our exclusive content that we make for patrons.
Sweden.
There's something exciting coming up on Sunday, right?
Yeah, that's true. We're going to have a streaming session, including me, Joachim, and you, Indy. And we're going to talk about different things, talk to the patrons, and answer a couple of questions, and have a little bit of interactive online hangout meeting with patrons.
Yeah, like half an hour or so, something like that, for a little while. Yeah.
Yeah, we've already started collecting questions from the patrons, so it's going to work like, it's going to be fun.
Joachim.
And it's going to work like this: the patrons get to ask questions and are actually there live for the live stream. But we are going to put the live stream up after it's done so that you can view it on YouTube as well if you are unfortunate enough to not be part of the exclusive and wonderful group that is the Sabaton History Patreon group.
Great. Hopefully I won't be so interrupted by a Russian team of climbers that is the first people I see in a while. That is actually climbing down on my balcony right now using ropes, making this look like some kind of insertion of special forces. I'm not sure what they actually plan to do, but if I'm abducted soon, this will be a very legendary broadcast, that's for sure.
Pair, abducted by Spetsnaz in the middle of the corona crisis.
Yeah, that would be a story for sure.
So, but you're in Moscow right now, Per, right?
Yeah, I've been in Moscow since the ending of our tour. In March, we had a tour in Russia, and we had to cancel it after the corona put an end to all the shows. And since then, I've been here. So I'm actually working on some interesting projects for the future. Something that I think a lot of people have been looking forward and will be quite surprised when we launch. So I'm not sitting here and feeling horrible and locked in for another reason. So we have something really cool coming up in some years from now on, but it's a big project, so it started already now.
Well, that is it for today, ladies and gentlemen, but I and Per and maybe even Sparty will see you soon
here on the Sabaton History channel. Thank you so much for watching.
I like his camera. It follows his face. It's really cool.
Listen to me, everybody. We love the Sabaton History channel. If you do it, please share it with us. Support it on Patreon, YouTube.
I would love to see these
and
guys
any way you
live,
want.
man.
Thank you for your support. Let's do this.
I have to see these guys. When I go back to the States, I have to. If they ever come to the States, I will go see these guys. For sure. I'm supporting it now. I love reacting to your guys' history. It's awesome. It's very interesting. Well, guys, that was part 2 to Night Witches. I hope you guys enjoyed. If there's anything that you saw that I didn't notice, then just put it down in the comments below. And I'm actually as soon as I get done filming this, I'm gonna edit this, and it's going right on YouTube. So yeah, I am literally going on DaVinci Resolve right now, and I am grabbing this photo or grabbing this video footage and then making this video. Peace.